One Sunday morning, there was a young man homeless, living on the streets for nearly 6 years. This young man, his hair was matted from not being groomed. His shirt was full of holes. He wore jeans that were dirty and soiled, and he had no shoes on his feet. He had been wearing the same clothes for years. But this young man was a brilliant man. He came from a good home, came from a good family, went to high school, graduated school, went to college, found him a nice job and married a good woman and had some beautiful children. But life found this man falling on hard times, separated from his family, separated from his job, separated from his community. This young man lived in a cardboard box, the dwelling he called his home. One day, as this man was sitting in his box, he looked across the street, and there was a church, a beautiful church, a church that was occupied every Sunday. You could see people walking in their fine clothes, driving their nice automobiles. The people in that church walked dignified. They looked holy. They looked righteous. Well, one day, this young man decided to walk into that church. The service was already started. As the young man looked into the church was completely packed and he could not find a seat. By now, the people were looking at him pretty uncomfortable. No one says a word. The young man gets closer and closer and closer to the pulpit. When he realized there are no seats, he squats down and sits on the carpet right before the altar. Have we ever been in the altar? Have we ever sat down before the altar? Well, the people by now got very uptight and tension filled the air. But this young man raised his hands. Then suddenly, an elderly person of the church got up. This elderly man in his 80s has silver gray hair and a three-piece suit. A godly man, a very elegant man, a very dignified man. He walks close to the young man carrying his African carved walking stick. Everyone is wondering to themselves, what is he going to do? How can you expect a man of this age, of his background, to understand this young man that's sitting on the floor? All eyes were focused on him. You can't even hear anyone breathing in the church. The pastor of the church couldn't even get the sermon started until the elderly man did what he had to do. With great difficulty, the elderly man knelt down beside the young man and worshiped with him so he would not be alone. Everyone in the church became emotional. There were shouts of hallelujah. There were people dancing and giving God praise. When the pastor of the church gained control, he says to the congregation, what I'm about to preach to you this morning, you will never remember. But what you have just seen, you will never forget. Be careful how you live. Be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you walk. Be careful how you talk. because you may be the only Bible some people will ever read. Oh, we come this far by faith,